Hello everyone, we are here at World Delhi Book Fair 2026 and today we have with us the author Mr. Avinash Parhi. Ahana and the Two Brains is his book. Hello sir, it's pleasure to have you today. We'll just be discussing about the book. What is your idea about the book? So what sparked the idea of explaining the mind to children through a story instead of instructions?
So, in general, with kids, we always like to give them advice, do this or do that. But kids of these age, the most important thing for them is they don't like instructions. They want to decipher on their own. And that's where I thought about doing something different. And I read a lot of books, and somewhere that came into my rescue. And I thought about, instead of asking them to do this or do that, can I give them some tools? And that's where the idea of this book came in, and I made some chapters or thought process around it, and this book came into being.
Why did you choose a child like, your daughter, firstly, to guide readers through something as complex as thoughts or emotions? Because you like Ahana is your daughter, right? So it becomes very personal. So how did you decide that I would want to choose my story to express thoughts and emotions?
See, in these days when both the parents are working, for a parent to spend more time with the kids is difficult. But in the little bit of a time that we spend, how do we share those thoughts or learnings with them is important. But we can't sit with them and talk about these, and that's where I thought about, instead of me sitting and telling them, because she has every day she comes to me, this papa, this happened in the school, or with some questions and all. So what I do is that I started noting them down, and from that I thought about, instead of in my time, can I do something which is like write some stories from whatever the incidents we have gone through together, and then share it with her. So then one fine day, early January last year, I took some notes and shared the printouts with her, and then she loved reading them, and then she had more questions around it. And okay, yeah, I did this, you have rightly noted this, and this is the situation which happened. So then I saw a lot of curiosity in her in deciphering how it happened, and that's where the point of having these tools for her, which she can use. And then uh, to top it up, in the month of May, June, some of my friends came across these notes of mine, and they said, these are wonderful things you have written for your daughter, a personal journal kind of a thing. Why don't you share it some other kids as well? So then I shared the first draft of some of these notes with some other kids from my friend circle, and they absolutely loved it. And that's where I thought, some of these things are not personal, and if any kid can learn, or it can help them in their journey of life by having some tools, then why not?
What emotional or behavioral changes in children today made this book feel necessary? So, what are those emotional and behavioral changes that you feel?
So kids in these days, they have so many choices in front of them, and the world is moving so fast that even at times we find it difficult to cope up with. And that's where that made it more important, that when there are so many changes happening, and the older generation of things which were going on, so that doesn't work. So how do we take care of these things? And that's where I found out tools via this book makes it more sense.
How does understanding two brains help children respond better instead of reacting impulsively? So, should I do this or that? That is what is there.
So always in life we have always choices. We might think many a times that we don't have choices. I have to do this only. But incidentally, if you think through, take a step back, you always have multiple choices in your life in every action that you do. So that's where I try to explore that, because as a kid also, they will have something which is inherently interesting to do, but there are some things which may not be right for them. So how do they pick between the options? And that's where I thought, even the name of the book is also Ahana and the Two Brains, and that's where the coining of the book name also happened, because you always have options, you always have choices, and how do you do it the best way possible?
That's how. So, what makes this book more of a guide child return to rather instead one time read? So, it's a constant guide they can read again and again instead of just a story one time read.
So my main intent was like I also read a lot of books. From 2015, I've been reading a lot of books, but there are only a few books which I keep going back to them. And personally, for me, I don't like reading books which are very long. At least the chapters which are very long. So I took some inputs from that. And with the kids of this age, they want to move on very quickly and they can't read long. So I picked up some ideas from there. One is each chapter should be small, and each chapter should be independent of any other chapter. So I picked up these two pointers, and along with that, how can that be, as you asked me, that they can come back to this book. So one of my favorite books, The Art of Thinking Clearly, is exactly this thing. It has 80 plus chapters, and every chapter is 2-3 pages, and you always come back because after reading a book, we move on in life, a lot of things happen and we don't remember things. So that's where this book has a very unique concept of having interactive sessions after every chapter, which kids can do, which helps them to remember these things and also come back to the chapters whenever they want. Okay, fine, I don't remember things, or how do I do things better? Because day in, day out, they have a lot of complex situations to handle. Like one time they think they have to go out for a party with their friend, or basically a night out, and there might be a tournament for them in the next few days, like a science Olympiad. But they inherently feel that no, I want to go and meet my friend. So then that kind of a conflict happens, and with the parents around, this book helps them to understand the reasoning behind that. So that's why I feel that this book can be you can say a tool which they can access multiple times, not just once.
So with this, we come to our fun session, which is finish the sentence. Children feel overwhelmed when
They have to take decisions.
a pause becomes powerful when.
It is having some tools with them to use that pause, because a lot of times you don't have tools, then that pause is meaningless.
Okay. Then emotions become easier to manage
When you have tools to express, or you understand to evaluate them better,
Okay. Confidence grows when children learn to.
express themselves better.
Okay. And last but not the least is good choices begin in the moment
When you try to understand or reflect upon the things which have happened.
Okay. So next is another fun session, which is this or that. So big emotions or early thinking.
Early thinking.
Okay. Being told what to do or discovering it through stories.
Discovering it through stories.
Okay. Reading in order or opening any chapter.
Opening any chapter.
Okay. Learning once or practicing it again and again.
Practicing it again and again.
Okay. With this, I would like to conclude it with one last question. If a child remembers just one idea from this book, what would it be?
Keep exploring, and there are always choices with you, and you need to use your mindset and your tools that you have learned, not just in book, but keep always thinking that you need to grab access to more and more tools in your life, because that helps you to take better decisions in life.
Thank you so much for this
Thank you.
conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.